What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash said it. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,700 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. Thank you so much for all the support. It makes a huge difference. Huge difference. That means that I get to talk to amazing, fantabulous people such as entrepreneur, private chef, and drag queen, Christian FareLove, aka Melody Lucas. Hello, my dear.
Hello. How are you?
I am great. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic on this rainy Wednesday.
Yes, it's always so weird, you know. And I know that you're in South Carolina, correct? So you're right bordering.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're always getting that crazy weather. So, all right, so I don't know. Should I call you Christian? Do you want me to call you Melody? Does it matter?
I always tell people that you can call me whatever you want. Just don't tell me that my eyes is closed. That's all I ask.
Gotcha. All right, Christian. All right, so let's talk a little bit about when did you decide that you wanted to be a performer?
Actually, it's funny. I've always wanted to be an actor, and I always said, my brother and I've always said that my mother, we would get her an Oscar and a Grammy from each of us, an Oscar from me, a Grammy from him, before she got too old. We always used to say that as kids. So I've always loved being on stage, and I was in theater in school, but as far as drag, I never thought that I would actually be doing drag.
And I'm saying, doing it so well. I mean, your makeup, if you guys haven't already, go and check out the Insta, because your makeup is always slayed to the gods. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to take classes because I'm missing something in my life.
It's so funny. It's so funny because when I started in drag, my makeup was nowhere near where it is now. So it's all, look, I'm always still, of course, we are all our own harshest critics. So I'm always nitpicking on, okay, I need to do this smoother, I need to blend this or do this. So even now, I'm still tough on my own makeup, but I feel like that's what makes things get better over time, is because we constantly strive to perfect it, I guess.
Practice makes perfect. It makes a difference. Now,
right.
in accordance with all the things that you do and everything that you're involved in, you're also a private chef. You know, I saw your other page and I'm like, almost about to like lick the screen because the food looks so delicious.
Yes. That's honestly my first love. My first love will always be food.
And it shows.
Food.
It absolutely shows. It certainly shows. All right, now you are on one of my favorite shows, MasterChef. You were in the top 80 people. That was season number 10. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what it was like for you.
That experience is probably something I'll never forget, because I actually wanted to audition for, I think it was season 8, either 7 or 8. I was living out in New England because my husband is military, so we moved every 4 years. But I couldn't bring myself to do the audition because of the requirements of course, you have to show up to the audition with your dish. And living where I was in Connecticut, it would have been a 2-hour train ride to get to New York where the auditions were, lugging around food, and it just wouldn't have been the most convenient. And I was also still in my career I was in banking for 11 years. Oh, wow. That was my career. So eventually now I've left the world of banking completely to dive in headfirst into business. But I thought about it, and I said, you know what, if the opportunity presents itself again, I'll audition if it's closer. Well, then we moved to South Carolina in 2018, and I got this email, and it it was almost like an anonymous email. I couldn't see, like, I couldn't reply to the email, but it came to me with the MasterChef audition information for September of 2018, or actually September of 2019. And I was just like, 2018. I was like, this is insane. I was like, and it's going to be here in Charleston for the first time, because they've never had auditions in South Carolina. Yeah. But it was crazy, because I said, you know what? I'll try it. And I hadn't returned back to working at the bank yet. So I was like, you know what? I've got time on my hands. Let's do it. So I made my audition dish, which was braised short ribs with a truffle mushroom Swiss mac and cheese and peach apple slaw, because I've never been a fan of coleslaw, so I always make, like, my own different slaw when I make barbecue. But then I also did a peach nectar barbecue sauce, so then it paired well with the slaw as well as the barbecue. And that dish, sitting in the audition, it was awesome. It was so much fun to do, and I was so nervous the entire time, but I did not really think it would not expand, but grow as much as it did, because it's just like, you're going to the next round, you're going to the next round, now you're okay. And it was so crazy, because only a certain number of people get to go to Los Angeles, and then getting to the kitchen and all that stuff, and it was crazy seeing the behind the scenes of it, and it just made me love the show even more. Yeah. Now, of course, those who love the show know that it's only the top, like, 40 get to battle for the 24 aprons. Yeah. So it made it to the top 80, but to me, that was still such a huge feat for me. It was my first time auditioning, and making all the way that far to LA on my first try, it put me on top of the moon. Absolutely. Yeah. So, but the whole experience was great, and it opened up so many, not necessarily doors, but it opened up a lot of things in me to kind of like, okay, you should be doing this full time.
Yes. Yes. So, wow. I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm going to jump back into the drag. You know, you're a wonderful drag queen as the wonderful Melody Lucas. And from the pictures and the video clips that we see online and everything, you just have this thing about you, this just confidence. It's like you just boost confidence in people that just walking in the room and seeing you. Like, I can't wait to see you live. We're putting that out into the universe. I'm coming to see you. I'm seeing you. But but I want you to think back to the very first time that you walked onto a stage as Melody Lucas. What was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind was definitely, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Oh, no. So it's crazy now, because so my first show was over 10 years ago. So it's been a while now, but I remember back in 2008, 2009, I went out for Halloween in drag, and it was fun. I kind of enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the attention. But I remember, it was 2008, because the Sex and the City movie came out in 2008, and I to the premiere of the movie in drag, and then later on that year I did drag again for Halloween. But some people saw me both times, and I got asked to do some amateur competitions. They were like, "Come out, do the competition." No, I'm not a drag queen. I don't have the stuff. I don't have the makeup. I don't have the costumes. No. And then, of course, like 2009 went by, 2010 went by, and I just kept saying no every time. Finally, 2011 hits, and I finally said, fine, if it'll get y'all to leave me alone, I'll do it. And it wasn't even the fact that I wasn't good. I didn't look amazing or anything. It was just I was a new queen on the scene, I guess. So I did the talent competition, which was my first time in drag. It was January 15th, 2011. And I was terrified out of my mind going on stage. And the talent competition had 11 different entertainers. I came in last place in the competition.
Okay, but still, you placed, so that's something.
But then I got offered a job right after the competition was over by the people there at the club, and I was like, "Did you just watch the same thing that I watched?" like you're offering me a job, and I came in last. But one of I call her the icon of Charleston, Brooke Collins. She's the one of the longest running performers, and she'll probably shoot me for that because that's calling her old. But she's one of the best there is in the business, and she looked at me and said she saw something in me and gave me a chance. And that's when Melody Lucas was born. And if I hadn't gotten that opportunity, then I probably would not have pursued it any further. But she said, "You're performing in the next 2 weeks, so get some stuff ready." So then I just dove in head first. But the nervousness went away after probably like my first three or four shows. Then I just sort of started soaking it in.
Yeah, because by that time you're a pro. You know what you're doing. You have a better ground on it versus like just the one time you're like, let me just do this just because. After a while, you figured out your rhythm. You figured out what works for you. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, this past week, the Supreme Court made a decision that directly impacts the LGBTQ plus community. What does this victory mean?
Well, for me, it's. I guess I have a different approach when it comes to our rights, not only as LGBTQ plus individuals, or even as African American either.
Right.
A lot of times, I don't necessarily see these rulings or things as victories, and I know that sounds terrible because I don't feel like it's something that needs to be negotiated, or there should be hearings or trials. These should be just normal things that already exist. Yeah. So I know a lot of people celebrate and they feel like it's a win-win-win, but for me it's like, these aren't things that we should be winning. These are things that we should already just have naturally, that doesn't need a committee to decide, yes, you're going to have rights now, or yes, this is going to happen, or yes, now transgender individuals can be in the military and all this. So it's like, this stuff shouldn't have to be a discussion. It should just already exist because we're human beings. So it's one thing that a lot of people, I'm a very honest and blunt person, but I'm also very opinionated, which gets me in trouble quite a bit. But being opinionated with a loud mouth and all this melanin creates a lot of a stir. But I always say that it just doesn't feel like it would feel like a win for me if we stopped having to have these hearings and trials, and you have rights, now they're being taken away, now we have them again, now they're being taken away, because they can always be re-questioned. Whoever is in office at that time can then question something and change something and pull it back, and it almost makes you feel like you're walking on air. It's almost like when you win a pageant, you've got a runner-up. If you don't fulfill the needs of that pageant or your reign, then your title can be given to somebody else. So it almost feels like, yeah, we've won this title, this is great, but if the wrong thing happens, they can snatch it back. So I guess that's a little pessimistic, but it's honest. So
and that's what I wanted from you, is I wanted to get your, I've only had a handful of people from the LGBTQ plus community on my show, and it's like, I want to hear your truth. I want to hear it from your opinion. I'm not, I'm definitely not here to criticize anybody. As we spoke offline, you're the first drag queen to answer the call.
I would probably, and it's funny because I would probably call myself the worst person to no, it's not I don't say that in a negative way,
right.
But I say it as I'm constantly a rebel and very much against the grain in everything that I do. So I don't usually have a similar mindset with other drag queens or other entertainers or even other LGBT individuals. So a lot of times my opinions are a lot different and a lot further out there. I'm glad that I hope other queens will answer the call so then we get to hear it from everyone's perspective.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's the important part. You have to hear it from everyone's perspective, not just one.
Right. There's just not one linear answer for every single thing that ever happened in life. Everyone's experience is going to be different, and everyone's story is going to tell a different story. So
right.
I definitely appreciate that. Now, last but certainly not least, we were talking earlier about queer in the Black community. And for a lot of young people that are struggling with something, it could be struggling with their sexuality or struggling with their gender or anything of that nature, what advice or what words of wisdom would you drop on any young person today that is struggling to be themselves?
I would say no, it's okay. So I come from a very dysfunctional family past, and but it's something so common, especially in the Afro community. It's hard to get past the religious upbringing or the ignoring of mental health that's very prominent in the Afro community. Like, it's just, there's so many things that are swept under the rug, that's swept under the table. It's hard to be yourself and accept yourself and love yourself. But I've always said that my one piece of advice would be family does not get a pass. You have one life to live. You get one chance on this earth. So you can use the excuse, oh, it's family, all you want. But at the end of the day, they can't live your life for you. Your family is meant to be there for support and love, but they're not meant to live your life for you. And that's something that a lot of people have to stop and realize, that removing toxicity from your life can include family. And it's a hard thing to do, very hard thing to do, but sometimes it's necessary. And that purging can sometimes help you, but it also can provide healing, because a lot of times people always expect family to be there. So then if you show them that, hey, I'm willing to walk away from this, maybe that's the wake up or the jolt that they need to see what they're losing. So I always say, just remember that you're you. There's nobody else that's you in this entire world, and you only have one life. So live it your way. And if people can't hop on board, then keep on going.
Keep it moving. I love it. I love it. Christian FareLove, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you beyond words.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, not a problem. Let everyone know the best way to get in contact with you, to follow you, to reach you, to get more info, all that good stuff.
Yes, definitely. You can, for all things drag, you can go to melodylucas.com, or you can go to thelucasbrand.com, and that has links to all of my social media as far as my food. I'm also a painter as well, so I have my art gallery. So everything's on either melodylucas.com or thelucasbrand.com.
I love it. Much more success. You've got to come back, Christian, because I know there's going to be some stuff popping off in the next couple of months. There's some stuff on the stove. I see behind you. You got some stuff on the stove cooking up. So you're going to have to come back. We just putting it out into the universe so people know. But I certainly appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming through. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.